What's up everyone, this is Rances for Rancer for short, and welcome to a game review that I'm doing. Now, I know some people have been asking, but didn't you say you're not going to do game reviews anymore until you get better equipment? Yes, I did say that, I did promise that. However, this is a game I actually want to do. Actually, because there's a lot I have to say about it. It's a Wii U console exclusive. Now, I know you already read the title, you already guessed what it is, but at least let me explain. It's basically a Wii U console exclusive that's actually the first one for the Wii U since, well, if you ignore Pikmin 3 actually, the last one that was released as a console exclusive was Lego City Undercover. And at least, so let's see, it's September already, so let's see. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So it's actually been 6 months since we had a Wii U console exclusive. Actually, and this game is developed by considered by many to be one of the most acclaimed Japanese game development studios in the business, even though they've been around for several years already though. But they've been recognized as making some of the best, most memorable hack and slash games during this generation of consoles. The game I'm actually reviewing today is a game that I really like, that I actually underestimated this game after I got excited for it, even though at the beginning I actually had mixed feelings with it first. But as the trailers and I played the demo a bit more, I started to get more excited for the game now. The game I'm talking about is Wonderful 101. Wonderful 101 is pretty much about a group of superheroes that's pretty much like a mixture of either Power Rangers or Beautiful Joe, actually, with Godzilla-sized monsters that are trying to invade and conquer trying to conquer the Earth. So now these group of superheroes have to work together in order to defeat this alien race called the GEATHJERK to try and save the planet from destruction. Now, the reason I was excited for this game was because of its gameplay. But we'll get to the gameplay now. So, like I already said, I already mentioned what the game's about. So, let's get to my likes of the game. For one thing, I know many people might think this sounds odd, but I actually like the story of the game, actually. I underestimated it. But now I'm not gonna lie. At the beginning, when I saw the trailers, I already predicted what it's gonna be. Okay, this is pretty much the very basic alien tries to invade the Earth story, and now they have to go on battle, yada yada yada. Hope the gameplay's good and that stuff. So yeah, it's kind of like the Avengers. The Avengers has done a similar plot line, and a lot of movies and even games have used the same plot that a lot of people have already heard of before. However, if you want to use that story, that's fine, but if you want to try to make it good, you have to at least explain it well in a good way to make it still entertaining, even though it's already been done before. That's actually what games actually no. Director Hideaki Kamiya actually explained. That's how he did it in this game. Actually, the way he told the alien story actually got me gripped into the story, and I wanted to continue to find out what would happen next in that. And what really he made me gripe through the story really good is near the second half of the story, where it now gets really more interesting, and you actually get to learn more of the characters later on, as for mostly wise character development. And it actually, quite honestly, makes it very good. Lots of twists in the game story. And I like the way Hideki he explained the story, and I liked how he explained it. Now, my second like of it is I actually like the fast-paced gameplay in this game. Usually when it comes to hack and slash games, it's mostly a hit and miss. Sometimes you get fast-paced gameplay that keeps you addicted, and you got the extremely repetitive ones where it's just slow-paced, very repetitive, and it's so boring you just don't want to continue playing. Platinum Games is actually the fast-paced type. The gameplay actually does not once... Well, at least in my opinion, though. I know some people might disagree with me on this, but in my opinion, the gameplay does not get very repetitive at all. It gets fast-paced, it's intense, and a lot of times you really have to in this game really makes you have to react to things fast enough. If you don't react to one thing quick enough, you're basically going to get hit by that, and that's what happened to me a lot during the second half of the game. Where in the first half it did happen a bit, but I got used to it. And I even like the parts where basically the characters use Unite. More if you don't know what that is, it's basically like you use either the touchscreen on the gamepad or the right analog stick. And you basically draw a line, draw a shape to create a certain physical item or whatever it is. Like for example, if you make just a full circle, you create a fist actually. Or what Wonder Red calls it, Unite Punch. And you also, or if you want to make a sword, you just draw a straight line. They do a sideways L, you make a Unite Gun. And there's several more Unite forms in that, and I don't want to spoil it, but I have a feeling a lot of people already saw this game or whatever when it was released in Japan and Europe in August 23rd or whatever. I can understand that, but like I said, for those who didn't play this game yet, at least in North America, I'm not going to spoil too much of the story for you. And yeah, that's pretty much the gameplay there. I really like the gameplay. I thought it's done pretty well. Fast paced, intense, never gets repetitive at all, at least in my opinion though. And the other thing I liked is the music. I actually thought the music in this game was really neat. I definitely like the beginning music at the beginning of the game. The GEATHJERK, the boss fights, they're really good. In my opinion. And that's the one thing that Platinum Games, most people seem to have claimed that they do a good job with, is different types of music. Actually, they give us music and that's pretty good, that fits very well with the action that goes on in there. Yeah. However, I will say that maybe my only small complaint with the music is that on some stages they pretty much just use the same music, and then after it lasts for a few minutes, and then if you're still not in another section or a boss fight or whatever, it could just recycle and you have to hear it again though. But if you actually like the music a lot and you don't mind it being repeated, then okay, that's fine. Though. And I definitely like the music. The other thing I liked, and I know maybe some Western audiences might disagree with me on this, I actually like the graphics and the animation style for this game. Actually. I know some people might think that, oh, it's a bit too Japanese anime in that. Western audiences are not going to find this thing. They don't find it appealing. I'm just going to skip the game because it's not appealing. Okay, I understand that. Most Western audiences don't find Japanese anime that appealing because it's more, because like I said, because like everybody said, the Japanese anime style animation is more appealing to the Japanese audience because that's where it all came from. To Western audiences, those who are fans of Japanese anime will probably like it, but those who don't won't like it at all. Though, and I'm not even a big fan of Japanese anime, by the way. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't watch that many Japanese anime TV shows or movies or even games that revolve in that. And some people like DSP criticize it and call it a piece of shit without even giving the game a try, or just because its graphics look bad. But here's the bottom line. Just because a game has bad graphics doesn't make it a bad game. As long as the story, gameplay, characters are in, that stuff is good, and that's going to make up for the problem, actually. And I actually like the graphics of the game. I don't mind the Japanese anime style that much, because quite honestly, Hideki Kamiya actually created the Beautiful Joe franchise for Capcom. This was back at the time when he used to work for Capcom, but he no longer does, and he now works for Platinum Games. And it's because Capcom was being very greedy for the past couple years, and they're really screwing over the customers, and now they only have like probably, I think, almost 140 or 150 million dollars by now. That's just ridiculous how much money they've lost after being a AAA title studio for a long time. Though, but that is what happens when you fire a legendary Capcom game creator. That basically, when you fire him, he pretty much will make a character or a game that's based off, that's pretty much like a copy of his own character that he made. It's actually very similar to Inafune. He's actually recently making the Mighty Number 9 game that has been confirmed it's coming out for PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii U because of Kickstarter. And guess what Mighty Number 9 is? it's a copy of his own character that he made, which is Mega Man. Now, it's a classic side-scrolling game, just like the Mega Man games have always been. And this is pretty much what Hideki Kagami has actually tried to do. They tried to they made the main character Wonder Red similar to Beautiful Joe, actually, but make him a superhero. And I even like the designs on the other rest of the Unite characters, like Blue, Wonder Green, Wonder Pink, Wonder Yellow, White, and Black. Like, I definitely like the different types of people they use. And I definitely, and I'm going to give this other credit, major credit for the graphics of the game. I think the scaling of the game, compared to the superheroes from with the camera being far away from them to show off the monster's size, it pretty much really makes it like as if you're watching it from a helicopter. You see the scale size between the human characters and the GEATHJERK monsters. I think it's really, really awesome the way they showed off the scale. Like, and I think it's done pretty well. It definitely makes it feel like as if you really are an ant compared to them. And another thing about the graphics I like is it's very similar to the design of the human characters. I like the design on the monsters. I like the fact how they give us sometimes different types of monsters, and they actually enemies, and they pretty much just give them different sizes and then also different designs. Using that, there is one small complaint I would say about the enemies though, but I'll actually get to that later. And I also like the level design. I like how it's pretty big. It's a pretty big levels. These operation missions, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's only 9, but they are insanely long, but in my opinion, fairly colorfully designed. But sometimes it's also dark too. Like, even though this game is a rated T game, there's a lot of moments it has dark or more adultish humor in it. Yeah, which I think, quite honestly, I think this game was supposed to get a rated M. An M rating, but probably because of its design is more targeted towards Japanese audience or to the younger children, they decided to give it a T rating instead. Yeah, but I don't know if that really is true or not though, but that's just my opinion. Like I said, there's some levels in this game that makes the atmosphere of the game more dark, a lot darker. Actually, like for example, there's this one world I got where basically you're inside, yet again, I'm not going to spoil it too much though, but basically you go on the inside of a body of a certain alien character that you meet actually the first time at the beginning of the game. Okay? And it's actually and it gets insanely dark because you're inside body, or the last level, which is an insanely dark level that you find enemies in an alien environment. No, but like I said, it is colorful. I mean, it's pretty good that it's very colorful. Though there are times it gets a bit dark, which may turn off maybe some children. But I honestly don't mind that too much, though. I don't mind the dark atmosphere too much. I think it fits. I think it does fit well for some levels, and some other ones they just stick with the colorful way, and I like that. I just need to check the time quickly for a sec. All right. The other thing I like. Hey, hold on a sec. The other thing I actually like about this game, I actually like the characters in the game. I actually like the characters. I definitely like the main characters like Blue, Red, Commander Nelson, Prince Vorkin, and those are the characters. I actually like those characters a lot. I really like them a lot. Because number one, some of these main characters like Red, Blue, and Commander Nelson are pretty much some of the most well-developed characters, along with Prince Vorkin in the whole game. You get to see, you get to know some suspicions. Like, for example, Wonder Red at the beginning has a flashback of him as a kid, and he sees his dad getting hit by, like, a giant knife or sword or whatever, and dies from that. And you also get to notice that Blue, for some reason, is overreacting and getting all aggressive against this alien he wants revenge, that he's somehow mad at, and you don't know why is the reason. Well, the game pretty much explains the story part. The only complaint I have with it, though, The only problem I would say about that, however, is that they don't really explain their backstories until the second half of the game. Well, the first half, you pretty much just listen to the story and the interaction between the characters, which at times it is entertaining and funny, but other times it's just pretty much basic conversations and that stuff. Though but like I said, I still like the characters. I definitely like Wonder Yellow because of his muscular appearance, but he's very shy. I like Wonder Green because he's completely French and likes to, and usually would agree with Blue, but piss him off. And I like Blue a lot. Well, as even though he's not that much of a nice guy, though, he actually is a nice guy when you get to know him better. So, like I said, I do like the characters. My only complaint about it is that they don't do much of the character development until the second half of the game. For some of the main characters. So that. And the other thing, the last thing that I actually liked, the other thing I actually liked a lot about the game is I actually like the controls of the game. And now, if you've seen some of the gaming media reviews, like for IGN or GameSpot and that stuff, you notice that they mostly only given this game an 8 or 7 out of 10 less than that. Only a couple gave it like a 9 or so. Here's the bottom line. Most of the gaming media, like IGN and GameSpot, are not really, or mostly the websites that most people don't really watch in that. Mainly because that most of the time they're mostly wrong. They probably just made up some stuff, whatever, or didn't practice anything at all. And one of the things that many people complain about against the Wonderful 101 was that they said that the controls are bad or very awkward. But here's the bottom line, though. Did they actually practice the controls? Because that's the point of a game. When you have controls, and if it's awkward, or the first time you play it, you have to practice it to actually get used to it. Or better yet, play the demo a couple times, actually, so you can get used to it. That way you're ready for the main game. But when it comes to the game media critics, I think, quite honestly, they just waited for the retail game to come out and didn't even play the demo to practice it. Yeah, I think that's what happened. They never practiced the controls in the demo, and they never practiced it in this game or anything like that. Many people who I've seen in comments, and it's not just these videos of Wonderful One on Nintendo's YouTube channel, but other YouTubers' web channels in there, where they upload trailers of Wonderful 101, people who who bought this game and pretty much wrote their reviews on websites, actually, the majority of them praised it the fuck out of this game. Mostly giving it at least an 8 to a 9 to even a 10, saying that Platinum Games did a great job of this game. The controls are a bit awkward at first, but it's actually good once you get used to it. And that's actually what happened for me. I still felt a bit awkward with the controls at the beginning, but I actually did like it, and it started to get good at it as I continued through the game to practice it. And that's why I wish some of these gaming reviews would at least fucking try, though. In certain games like this, practice the controls for a bit, and if you think he gets good, until you get used to it. Now, I can understand that maybe you're somebody who played the game, and you thought maybe it felt awkward to you, but you tried to practice too, and it still felt awkward for you. That I can understand. I can definitely understand that reason. The thing is that, quite honestly, in my opinion, though, most of the time, actually most people who play the game and get used to the controls usually will say that the controls are either good or just decent. It's either that. And like I said, if you're somebody who, pretty much to be honest, pretty much tried to practice the controls, but you still aren't used, or maybe it still feels awkward for you, I can understand that reason, and I can completely agree with that. I can understand that reason. Though, but like I said, I do like the controls. But to be completely fair, though, I do have a couple complaints with the controls, to be completely honest. I actually do. I just need to check the timer. This might be a 2-part review. Anyways, the thing I have a complaint that I have 2 minor complaints of the control scheme for the game. For one thing, the first one is that is the touchscreen controls. Now, I know some people might disagree with me on that, but I agree the game has used great use of the gamepad. Like, you're inside a building, you have to solve a puzzle by looking at the gamepad. But in that stuff, I completely understand that, and I agree with that. What I actually didn't like about the controls is when a character goes up to this moment where time slows down, and the character tells you to do unite gun or unite whip or something like that, well, you have to draw the straight line. On the touchscreen, majority of the times it does work. Like, especially in the middle of a combat gameplay. Okay? Well, but sometimes, from what I've noticed, it doesn't really seem to work. Like, sometimes it like doesn't offer your shapes at all, though, for some reason, and I don't know why it does that. But like I said, this is my opinion, though. But to be fair, though, like I said, the touchscreen actually is done pretty well, in my opinion. So that's at least a positive, though. However, well, actually, yeah. The other thing I've noticed a lot of people have complained about is the camera of the game. I will admit, there are times that the camera for some reason zooms back in automatically, even though I never pressed R button, because that's what you press to zoom in. I mostly keep it far away so that I can see what's going on around the environment. There are times, like I've said, that the camera just zooms in automatically, and that's my only complaint about the camera. The camera, in my opinion, is completely fine. You know, it's not really that bad. It's just that there are times it zooms in automatically, but oh well. Now hold on one sec here. Alright, so I'm going to be back for part 2, and in part 2, we're going to talk about the negatives of the game that I think are negatives for me, and my full score for the game.